Welcome to my channel, Wendy Twine Realigned. Hi, I'm obviously Wendy Twine, and I want to share with you what I'm about, which is getting realigned. It's getting realigned in all areas of life, and I'm inviting you to join me on my journey of mastering realignment for heaven's assignments. And so I have been on this journey for 59 plus years, nearly 60 in just a few months at the time of this recording. And I want to share with you the sorrows, the joys, the wins, the losses of what has taken place in my life when I was in alignment and when I was out of alignment. So you're probably wondering, okay, well, how do I know if I really want to join this journey with Wendy Twine? Let's start first with you getting to know me a little bit better. I'll share with you from the beginning of time since I've been here on earth. How about that? Because we all obviously originated before here on earth, and that was in the womb of God, which is part of how we come into alignment is spiritually, because we are first spirit beings before we are anything else. But I'm going to share with you who I am by the different roles or hats that I've worn over the course of my life. A lot of times when someone asks you, who are you? Or, you think immediately about your heritage or your ancestors or, your parents or, all these kind of thoughts go through your head like, well, who am I? So let me take you back from the beginning of my time on and take you through the journey to see if you want to walk this rest of this journey with me on how we can master divine alignment together for heaven's assignments. Okay. So the beginning of time for me was when I was born from my parents, James and Patricia Keene. And then I was a only child for the first 5 years of my life. After that time, mom and dad did not want me to continue the rest of my years growing up as an only child. So we adopted two other children who were blood related and became my brother and sister. And I was so excited now to have playmates, and they brought me so much joy. So then 15 years later, woohoo, my mom gets pregnant and I have a biological brother, and he has brought me a lot of joy too. Still does. So anyway, at the end of my years, though, obviously I'm about 15 years old when mom has my biological brother. So that was like, now you can see I've been wearing the hat so far as a daughter, and then I became a sister. Now let's go into the hat of, well, I have been a student too, classmates and all that, but let's go into adulthood. I got married early, right out of high school, to my childhood sweetheart. I say childhood, but it really is. We were teenagers when we met, and still married to him today. Been 41 years, so I have now been wearing the hat of wife. But before I go any further, I skipped a couple steps. I'm thinking in there in terms of hats that I really started in childhood that makes me into who I am today. And you can really evaluate this to see if this is true for you too. I acted out as an entrepreneur as a child, and I also acted out as a teacher. There was two roles I acted out frequently as a child. And let me explain. When I was 8 years old, I got a gift. I can't remember if it was my birthday or Christmas. I want to say Christmas, but I got a pot holder set that where you could make your own pot holders. I went and sold those. And that was the first of many things that I would sell to my neighbors or services I would provide for my neighbors, and acted as an entrepreneur. I also acted as a teacher to my siblings, where I was the teacher, they were the students. So this carried on into my adulthood after I got married. And the reason I'm saying this is because it's obviously significant for you to understand how I'm wired, how I have behaving and operating in the course of my life. So to want to know if you want to continue this journey with me or not. So anyway, then as I got older in adulthood after I'm married, I still tried to figure out what I wanted to do in terms of business. I tried a few MLMs, multi-level marketing companies, mostly in the area of, well, I should say actually all of them were in the area of health and wellness and nutrition, very much because in my growing up years and early adult years, I had lots of sickness in my body. So I was, very adamant about wanting to bring healing to the body. Anyway, so then we continued on. I become mother. That's another hat I wore. Became a mother first, very again young at 20 years old. My oldest will be 40 in July, which is hard to believe. We've had 5 children. My husband and I have had 5 children, but we raised 3. So obviously 2 have gone on to Heavenly Father. 3 of those children have given me 7 grandchildren. So now you can see I've wear a hat now, not just mother, but grandmother. But I've also worn the hat of just not mother, grandmother, and adulthood and business, which I said MLM. We also, my husband and I, had done 2 different times home improvement contracting companies. The first one we operated as a sole proprietor. We really didn't know much in the beginning. We operated for 3 years, and then my husband decided to shut it down because work was getting difficult. It was during a time of Desert Storm, and for those of you who've been around for any length of time, you understand. Most of our area is made up of the 5 branches of the military, and it seemed like half of our area went out to, war. So anyway, some years passed. We had 3 of the children that I then began to again put that hat back on as teacher, where I homeschooled our children. I also taught in my church, though. We came to Sunday school. It was prime time, which it was a Wednesday night class, and then it was being in the home. My husband and I did what was called cell groups or tender loving care groups, and also known as like Bible study. We've done that too. So anyway, that is how teacher played out until I became a home service professional in my older years. When my children now are doing a university model where I'm still homeschooling, but 2 days of the week they go to a university school for homeschoolers, a university model, I mean, and the other 3 days they were home. And during that time, I began my knowing the transition was that they were going to be out of the home in just a few years, and I started doing residential real estate. So I also did entrepreneurship in the area of real estate. I've done it again the second time around with my husband for over 13 years in the home improvement contracting business. And as you can see, these are the different hats that I've worn. Now, there's a lot of mistakes, sorrows, griefs that I've had wearing those different hats. And there's one more hat that I forgot to tell you, because these are the experiences that I've had on this journey called life, this path called life. And it has a lot to do with how it plays a lot into where God's brought me today and to help you understand whether or not you would like to join me on this journey. But the final hat that I've most recently have worn the last few years was caregiver. My mother has been in my home. She was in my home for 5 years. Now she's not currently in my home, but she has lived in my home because of some disabilities that she had. She can't live on her own. So anyway, these are the different types of hats that I have worn. So what does that look like for you? Well, a lot of times your experiences, your schooling, your skill sets, can equal a writing on the wall per se, based on where God has a plan, because he has a plan for all of us. Jeremiah 29:11 says, I have a plan for you. It's for good, for a hope and a future. It's not for evil, but for a hope and a future. And so the plan a lot of times is the destiny that God has for us. And we can begin to, some people get it very early on, others it takes longer. But for me, I always say I'm a late bloomer. It's better late than never, as they say. And but I've come to a place of congruency. It's called being congruent. Um, and it's where it's like all your life experiences, all your skill sets, your learning, all that makes up who you are, then comes to then God's call and assignment that he has for you. And that's that place of being um congruent, as I want. I hope that's the term I'm looking for. I'm like trying to bring it from the recesses of my mind. But anyway, um yeah, I forgot too that um yeah, so schooling, skill sets, experiences, yes. So anyway, I'm at a place of congruency now in life, which means like the passions, a lot of that has to do with your passions, what motivates you, your motivations, um, your behaviors, the way you act out, all has a lot to do with what's on your destiny scrolls. The plans that God, because it did say plan, it says plans, which I want to go into assignments, okay? Because God does give us assignments while we are on this journey, this path called life. And so, anyway, I'm at this place now where I've been passionate about Heaven's Plumb Line. And what is Heaven's Plumb Line? It's God's word, it's God's will, and it's God's ways. And so I've been passionate about, being in alignment with, Heaven's Plumb Line. And yet now most recently is Heaven's assignments. And the most recent assignment that's been the most clear for me ever in life, as I knew, knowing who I was going to marry, my husband, it's just like by the second or third time that we met, I just knew that I knew he was going to be my life mate. And anyway, um, when it comes to your assignments, the most recent one I had was assignment God gave me to help equip business owners, entrepreneurs, and marketplace leaders how to do business God's way and how to rule and reign in their business and marketplace. That's what the Lord told me. And it was just so clear because I was on this uh, goal until my first online summit before online became a thing in 2020. And I was all geared to go because I was active in home services at the time, doing real estate. And I was very passionate about teaching consumers, specifically in the home services arena, about best practices, bewares, and industry standard rules and regulations. That was what I was passionate about. And, but I was also passionate about want to do business God's way too. When I was getting ready to do this online summit under my brand name at the time that I was using, the Lord said, before you do that, I want you to do this. And he said, I want you to teach my people, business owners, entrepreneurs, marketplace leaders, how to do business my way, meaning God's way, and how to rule and reign in their business and marketplace. And I said, but Lord, I don't even know how to do that. I mean, like literally that was my response to him. I didn't know how to do that. And he started just bringing like remembrances of teachings or books that I've read or people I've listened to or classes I've sat under who were people who were doing business by God's principles. But he was taking me another level that I didn't even understand at the time when he gave me this commission back in 2018. And I really got, it's like when God gives you an assignment, um, sometimes it's like right then and there, and sometimes there's a preparation period. It's like well, I don't want to get into all that. You're going to have to follow me on the journey, and I'm going to share with you some divine revelations, biblical principles from God's word on how we know that we are in the perfect will of God, number one, how we know what our assignment is, our calling, our purpose. I'm going to share all that with you because this is a journey I've been on. And like I said, I'm at this place of being congruent in life, convergence. That's the word I've been looking for. Congruent. Yes, I am congruent, but it's convergence. That's the word I was looking for. I'm at this convergence in my life now where God has taken all my history and all my passions and desires, which my desires has always been business, but it's been also ministry. And I'm like, well, how did the two go together? I don't understand, God, until 2018 when that's when convergence started happening for me. And that's when he began to reveal to me how the two do go together. And I want to share that journey with you if you choose to say yes. So anyway, this is who I am. This is, what I'm about, Wendy Twine Realigned, because I am realigning with Heaven's Plumb Line, and I'll share how we can get out of alignment starting spiritually if you choose to follow me on this journey. And believe me, I am going to share, I'm going to be real with you. That's the only way I really know how to be is like what you see is what you get with me. I'll share the struggles that I'm going through because I've had lots of struggles and heartaches. I'll share those, and the lessons I've learned from them and how it has helped me to where I am today. It will help you too. And so yeah, I'm at a place of convergence where God has taken my passions of ministry and business and married the two together, where I am going to share with you. These are the three probably main 3 to 4 areas I'm going to most talk about, and I'll tell you what they are. It's obviously going to be my personal life, where I've messed up, where I've had some losses, where I've missed the mark, and then the lesson I learned from it, because I'm forever, sharing with my husband, my children, those closest to me. I saw like everything that we go through in life, it's okay, what does God want me to learn through this? Okay. So just, complaining, say, oh, woe is me. Okay, Lord, obviously there's something you want me to learn through this. What is it? And learn a lesson so that we can apply it, and not keep going round and round the mountain. I went round and round the mountain so many times in my early years of adulthood that now I'm much quicker to say, okay, Lord, what's that I need to learn? And and we'll get into all that on this journey. There's so much I want to say, but I got to keep this short. So anyway, come join me if you want to know more about business, entrepreneurship. Okay, that's my assignment, entrepreneurship. It's believers who want to partner with heaven in their business to expand their territories for the King of Glory. That's really, or Heaven's Glory, but the King of Glory, because really that's what it's all about. It's the Lord, the King of Kings, and the Lord of Lords, who wants to extend his government here on earth. And that's what I'm about. Okay. So I'll share with you personal areas of my life as I'm developing as this Heaven's Kingdom entrepreneur, aka Heavenpreneur. So I'll share that the behind the scenes of all that. I'll share with you what projects I'm working on and like who I'm, getting to know and what they're doing for the kingdom. And I'll probably send you over to my business channel on that one, for interviews that I'm doing. And then I'll share with you like um maybe many teachings here that are relating to, you as a person, personal development as a kingdom entrepreneur. Okay. And and all that it entails to that. So personal, business, and maybe some other stuff. I don't know. But anyway, come join me. So anyway, hope to see you. And like I said, if you want to join, just hit subscribe. So that way you'll be notified every time I come on. My goal right now to start is once a week. My prayer is much more than that, but I want to definitely give you updates every week on the journey of where I am and where I'm heading to expand heaven's territories here on earth. Okay. Expand our territories for heaven's glory, or our dominions for heaven's kingdom. Well, however you want to word it, if that's what you're about, then come join me. All right. God bless, and remember, stay aligned with heaven's plumb line.